And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Offsides, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I am your host, Andres Robledo, and I am joined, as always, by the one and only Pab Nasty Robledo. Pablo, how's it going?
Hey, always and forever. It's okay, I guess.
It was a thrilling week of playoff youth soccer. I mean, gosh, I've never been energized over anything in my entire life.
Yeah,
Going to watch your young daughter play. Sick.
that was a pretty high energy playoff game. Just the fact that her team made the playoffs was pretty cool, and then like the comeback that they made from that was awesome because like they got scored on early, and then
Yeah.
we're like, oh, there it is.
Back
But
it
then they
up.
came back and like won it. I'm like, wow,
By a
like,
lot.
She was like, yeah, we won. I was like, yeah, you won a playoff game. She was like, what does that mean? Like, I was like, even the Panthers don't make the playoff. Like, you should be excited.
Yeah. How old are they again? Like those
It's
kids?
like 8 to 10-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. That one blonde-headed kid, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he is pretty good. He put 3 in.
I like how upset parents get too. Like, had the ball and the ref calls it like, come on, let them play. What's the rules? Gotta follow the rules. Anyways, so big week ahead. A little bit of and for listeners, that's why this episode is delayed. We're out watching and supporting youth soccer, youth playoff soccer, especially when it involves one of our own.
That's right.
But big week ahead, a lot of news, and then we've got both matches that we're gonna cover. The one against Richmond first, and then the one against Montreal, which both of them feel like a lifetime ago. But to kick off the news, we got the big rumors that I think by the time this episode has come out have been squashed, but it'd be fun to talk about anyways. That Lionel Messi, aka the GOAT, might be joining Inter Miami for 35% ownership of the team, and I'm sure a hefty salary as well. What'd you think of the news? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not happening. Pretty sure it's fake news. But what would you think if that was actually gonna be an actual thing?
Yeah, I think I saw that on the Fox Soccer report that came out, and it was like, I mean, right away they even said it that it was all rumor and like this was not going to happen, and he did not have any plans to retire, like switch over. It was like all on the same post. Like they posted that he might be coming over to Inter Miami and he might be getting like part ownership and all this stuff, and then like right below it you could see it was like, this has been confirmed to be false. It was like, okay. It's like fake news or what is going on?
They probably just corrected it after
Yeah.
the post. Probably
Yeah, I
an
mean
old
they did
post.
correct. Yeah, they corrected it, and I was like, well, why even still have it up? But I could see like people getting hyped up about it, but I still don't think that like we need to be focusing on like bringing players like him to, I don't know, Miami probably could use him, but I mean there's so many other players in those leagues that could benefit from coming over to the MLS and making the game better. Like I don't think Messi or Ronaldo or any of those guys coming over here is going to make the MLS like more popular or things like that. It's like, I mean, it's slowly happening.
Yeah, and I think for people to take the league more seriously, probably I think it needs to start kind of going away from that model of like bringing in older European guys who, this is the last team they're going to play for as an MLS team, just so it can kind of like, because the stigma around the MLS now, it's just like, oh, it's where good players go to retire because it's easy money, and
like the junkyard league.
Yeah, so if you want to be taken more seriously, I think you gotta get away from that and maybe ease up on some of the salary cap stuff and start bringing in some more like premier talent. And the only way you can do that, especially from European talent, is with spending.
Like they need to start tapping into like some of these other leagues, especially in like South America, where there's like a lot of just Brazil's got so many good teams out there that, and where like, Neymar's came out of there, Ronaldinho's came out of there, Robinho, like all those guys have came out of there. But so does Colombia, so does Argentina, so does Mexico. Mexico's got good leagues, so like start tapping into that.
Yeah, I mean you could see MLS kind of become like what the French league or the Dutch league is, or even the Portuguese league is. It's like kind of where you go find the next big player, and it's all a lot of like young up and coming superstars who are really talented.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
Like
I'd like to see that. I always think that's more interesting to see, anyways, than
right.
seeing the big superstars.
Yeah, like where you know, this is their stepping stone, and
Yeah.
then they go over to Europe and play like that. I would be fine with that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I think you and I have discussed this. Like we think Lindsay could be one of those players, or even Bender could be one of those players where they go eventually get drafted to these overseas teams, um, just because they started out young and like their talent is just so raw.
Yeah.
So
And there's just so, I mean, there's just so many teams out there that there's a lot of like spots open that, you know, Bender and Lindsay, they can probably be like a big fish in a little pond here,
mhm.
or they can, go to a bigger pond, so to say, and play like, you know, maybe not necessarily for like
Yeah.
Man City or Man United, but
Or they
like
could like just even stay here and
play for like
you
a
know
small club like Tottenham or something.
well no, I was gonna say like just keep it local or keep it keep the talent here.
Yeah.
That's like one thing that I always respected Clint Dempsey for was I think he did eventually play for a European team.
I
Maybe
think you
not.
mean Landon Donovan. He always
No,
played for LA Galaxy. Dempsey
yeah,
went to Europe. He played for
Dempsey played.
Fulham and then
Okay,
Tottenham for a little bit.
yeah, but he
But
also played for was it? Yeah,
I think he came back, but again, it was like at the end of the
yeah,
of
okay,
his
and then
career.
but then Donovan did as well. But anyways, like those guys like
Yeah. So
kept
Donovan, I
kept their
think,
main talents here.
yeah. So Donovan, he had when he was a teenager, like trials at Bayern Munich, and was like on
Mm-hmm.
the youth team and like the reserve team, but decided to just come back to LA and play for the Galaxy. And like the whole main MLS season, he was playing for Galaxy, and then the off season, he'd go to Europe and play
Mm-hmm.
for the winter time. But then once MLS season started again, he'd go back and play again for LA. Because I remember like for a couple years there, he'd like go and be on loan to Bayern Munich for like 2 3 months, and then Everton for like the next year for a couple months. And
Mm,
it was always rumored like maybe this year he'll finally make the full step, but no, he always just stayed in
yeah.
MLS.
Well, that's like that's another option that could always help boost the MLS is like they just keep it here. But yeah, I don't think you need big signings like that. And I know we've discussed this in the previous episodes, but yeah,
Yeah.
that Messi coming over here is definitely false. Like
Yeah.
partially reading that, I'm like, no way.
I think it's more likely he probably goes back to Barcelona for like a year or two and then retires.
Right?
Kind of
Yeah.
like what Danny Alves is doing now.
Or like
But
Ronaldo.
yeah, or like what Ronaldo's doing at Man United. Moving on to the next piece of news you wanted to cover. FIFA 23 will be the last FIFA game that is, I guess, both in partnership with EA and FIFA. I guess they're branching off. Both are branching off to do their own thing after FIFA 23, just due to not being able to come into terms for the rights and all that FIFA own. So EA is going to make their own soccer game, and I guess FIFA is going to find another developer to sell all their rights to or whatnot. However that works, I have no idea.
Yeah, it was like yeah, EA's making their own game,
EAFC.
and they're gonna most likely keep the same formula because I mean they do it
Yeah.
for everything else. But then FIFA is gonna work with other developers and make their own game. Uh, when I saw that post, I thought I was like, oh, that would be interesting because then like because I think everybody plays FIFA, like everybody knows FIFA,
Yeah.
and then there's a small portion of us out there that like know about Winning 11 or Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yeah.
Which when they started, they barely had rights to some of those licenses.
Yeah.
Like some of the like Manchester United used to be called like West Ham or something like that, and they didn't have rights to the logo.
Yeah, I remember Chelsea was London FC. That was
Right.
always confusing.
Yeah. Just but now like they have rights to a lot of the logos and other teams, and they're growing. And then like their style of play was just different and it seemed more
Yeah.
realistic. And like I think you and I always enjoyed those games better.
Yeah.
And now FIFA's just kind of grown into its own beast, and um, I think it'll give it more room for these other games like developers to like kind of put their brand out there and see what players like best.
Yeah, I think when I saw the news and I saw what like people were reacting to, they were like, "Oh my gosh, yes! Like now we're gonna get a good game from EA." And I'm like, I don't think FIFA was the problem with EA making the same game every
Right,
year.
no.
I think it's mostly them. So I think I know a lot of people are, they announced that their game's going to be called like EAFC. And I think a lot of people are excited about that, but it's just going to be the same thing.
It's just going to be the same old thing. I mean,
Yeah.
EA, all they do is just copy and paste.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm looking forward to like this last EA FIFA game is going to be like, one, it's going to be the last one. So it's going to be a little bit of like memorabilia.
Yeah.
Like, when was it? When I think 2K put out the wrestling game, because they put out those showcase games. Like when they put Stone Cold on the cover, I was like, oh, I'm getting this one just because like he's never gonna be in the cover again.
Yeah.
I'll probably get that like EA FIFA 23 because it's gonna be the last one before they split off, and then hopefully it's got like Charlotte on there, and take the team from there. Sorry, Miguel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much else to say about that.
No, yeah, it's just kind of fun little bit of news there.
Yeah. And then the MLS salaries were all disclosed this week, and turns out that we were ranked second last in spending, I guess. And then a little bit, and as before we were starting the show, I did see that one of the directors of Charlottefc was, he held a press conference talking about it, and I think was saying more like, if you include like acquisition costs of all the players and stuff, are really more like seventh, but still seems pretty odd to be so low as a new team who had to, buy the whole team this year basically, and to still have teams outspending you who are just buying like a couple pieces. Seems a little bit weird, but what are your thoughts on that report?
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like, think about it from a player's perspective. If you're negotiating a contract, do you really want to come over to a new club where they're going to be figuring out, you're going to have, they're figuring out the formation, figuring out the team chemistry, figuring out their starters.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have a great track record the first couple of years, most likely. Do you really want to have all those bad stats on your resume?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. And not only that, but not only is it a new team, but it's also a pretty like young coach as well. So it's not like a new team, but with like a really experienced staff. It's like,
right. It's just like a bunch of unknowns coming together.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of different variables going in there. And then also, like you have a new team to choose from, or do you go to like a more established team that has, for example, like a Philly that, they have a winning track record right now. They probably have some silver in their showcase. So it's kind of a no-brainer when you get to pick your contracts, where maybe like some of these players that we got where it's just bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Although not to say that they're bad. Like I think a lot of our players right now are really good, and we're lucky to have them. It's just the talent's not getting used correctly.
Yeah.
But we can discuss that later.
Yeah. Oh, and we will.
But I guess you could see, like, you gotta pay to play, and if he's not spending that much money, it kind of shows a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess at least there is like the cap and everything to prevent the whole. I mean, like what you see in a lot of the big European leagues now, like just one team has all the money and just buys all the good players. At least like the cap here in MLS does make it a little bit more interesting from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah, we need some Saudi princess with some of that oil money.
That oil. And then last piece of news, it looks like Kerwin Vargas is arriving in Charlotte soon and could be available as soon as the next US Open Cup match or against Seattle when we travel to Seattle. What are your thoughts on that? You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm glad that he's finally coming over, joining the team. Hopefully he has a big impact as Chinashinsky has. I mean, that guy has played in 3 matches and scored in 2.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty hot start.
Hit the post in the most recent one.
He had a shot on goal. So I'm hoping that he gets kind of like a quick start like Shinshinski has had, but we'll see. This coach is hard to like figure out like what he's
Yeah.
gonna do. Maybe not hard. He's just
Unpredictable.
unpredictable. But it's like
Because we didn't think that Andre was gonna start or not start, but like even play against Miami just because he had just signed in the middle of the week.
right.
And then there he goes and gets the game winner.
Yeah.
And then starts the very next game while Yazbek is still like on and off. Same with Derek Jones.
Right.
So hard to say like what he's gonna do with new players.
It was hard to figure out because it was like, when we first started the season, he was kind of like starting to some of the same guys, and then we got the Yazbek sign, and then we got the David Jones, and those guys didn't get an immediate start. In fact, I think Jones got a start before Yazbek did, but Yazbek had injuries. But still, it's like they didn't get a start until much later, as opposed to Shinshinski, where like he just got to start right away.
Yeah.
So it's hard to figure what he's gonna do.
Yeah, totally agree.
But I hope he gets to start right away.
Yeah, I hope so too.
We need it.
Yeah. Any other news that you wanted to cover, or is that just about everything?
No, I think that was about it. I didn't see anything else on the MLS.
Yeah. Alrighty, so then let's just jump right back into the Richmond recap. Round of 32, Charlottefc takes on the Richmond Kickers at Richmond's home stadium, and it's a triumphant beating is what I would call it. 5-1. The team looked really good, and it was mostly the I guess what we would call like the B squad, or guys who are coming in late into regular MLS matches. But I thought the team looked really good. Little shaky start in the beginning, but they got the goal, and then that second half, I mean, they just really dominated the entire time. Obviously, putting away 5 goals. For me, not a whole lot to really talk about besides just like how good they looked with team passing and creating space and going into that space and just finding the back of the net. What'd you think of the game?
Yeah, I thought well, I didn't get to watch the game when it came on Wednesday. But I did watch it Thursday, and prior to watching it, I had seen on Instagram where we had won 5-1. I'm like, okay, so this ought to be a pretty interesting game to watch. But it was just so boring to watch. So it's like this has to be one of the most boring, high scoring games I've ever watched.
Just because of the broadcast, or
yeah, I think maybe just because of a little bit of the broadcast, but also just like how they were playing. It didn't seem that exciting to me. I mean, I think we just really outplayed these guys, and they didn't really seem on form. But good on Charlotte for getting all those goals in, and obviously winning. But it didn't seem like that special to me. I don't know. I mean, I knew the score going in, but I hadn't seen any of the goals or any of the match. But I was just like kind of ready for this game to be over with. So, but I did like that. Reyna had that goal to make it 2-up. After Richmond had just scored.
Yeah.
Because I think you had said that sometimes a lot of goals come right after somebody scores on you.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, there it is. And I was glad Reyna finally scored. Glad that Rios finally scored.
3 assists, I think, as well. I mean, he had a really good game.
Like the guys that should have scored against that Greenville game finally put some in the back of the net. Gaines, didn't put one way over the bar. That's good.
No, he looked really good this game, especially with his finishing. It looked like cool and calm, and he was just kind of picking his targets. And then, Reyna had a great game, just being an absolute terror on that left side. But I mean, it's like what we were saying before the episode before, where we were talking about this match, is like they need to just go out there and put this game away. Like they need to be way better in this team. They've got the talent to do so, and like We've seen it. Like they don't need to be struggling against a third division team.
Mm-mm.
They need to just go out there and win it, and all business. And I think that's what this game was. They just put the game cleanly away.
Yeah.
When it did get tied up, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, oh my god, here we go again. But for them to respond right away, to get the lead back, and then to just run it up, I mean, it just showed like they were
Yeah.
head and shoulders above Richmond.
Head and shoulders.
Ain't no dandruff.
No danger. Always working. No, yeah, I did like that. One thing I was gonna mention before I forgot what I was gonna talk about. What was it? And I was just about to say it. Oh, one thing I was gonna say was that Richmond kind of did also expose another weakness of ours is our back line. Yeah, we put 5 in on these guys, but like they did put 1 on us. And I think it just kind of goes to show you, like, we have a lot of talent up front, and we need more help in the back.
Yeah.
And we still have some signings to do, where I think we should be spending it on defensive players, not on offensive players. And
Yeah.
you did mention that we might be getting a new attacking midfielder as a young DP.
Yep.
Coming up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, why? Why are you getting more attacking players when we need defense? Like right now, Fuchs is out, and we don't have a real solid replacement for him. And we keep starting McCoon, and he's not really starting material talent in my eyes. So why are we signing more attacking players when we need to be signing defensive players?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll, lead to some of the stuff we have to talk about in this next match against Montreal. But totally agree. I think not only Richmond, but I think every team we've played against has kind of shown that the back line is definitely our weakest point right now. I would say thankfully we have Kalina in, who has maybe, if you only look at like final scores, you probably can't tell that as much from just how many incredible saves he's had to like get some of those clean sheets that he's gotten.
Yeah.
Or to keep certain games like 2-0s or 2-1s.
Like if you would have started the goalie that played against that we started at that Richmond game, for our regular MLS matches, I mean, our goal difference would have been just horrific. Like we would have been bottom of the table most likely.
Like I think George Marks is good, and I mean obviously he is because he's in the MLS and he's won. I believe he's won a national championship with Clemson. So obviously there's talent there, but it's still really raw and underdeveloped at the highest level, where Kalina is just like that much better. I mean, he looks like, I mean, I would be surprised if he's not in the World Cup squad for Croatia. If he's not starting, I think he'd have to be their second goalkeeper. I mean, he looks really good. Like, not just an MLS standard. Like some of the saves he makes, it's like some of the saves you see at the European level, like at a bit higher level. So, yeah. So like, no offense to George Marks or anything, but yeah, I do agree. Like, if he was the starting goalkeeper over Kalina, it would be a lot different, and that back line does need to be reinforced a bit more.
I still think he's just too short to be a goalkeeper in the MLS or just a goalkeeper in general. Like, I feel like you give me 3 shots at him, I could put 1 in from inside the box.
Yeah, that'd be a fun test to see.
Yeah, I'd like to try. Make a wish foundation.
Let's jump into the next match. We played Montreal at home, and I think to everyone's kind of surprise, we see a change of the formation back to the 4-4-2. My question to you is, do you think that was because Fuchs is out and he has, no faith that the 4-3-3 without Fuchs can withstand Montreal's attack? Or do you think Fuchs being out didn't have any impact and this was always going to be the formation we were going to play against Montreal?
I would say this was I mean, I wasn't surprised when he changed the formation.
Yeah, you did kind of call it on that last
I was
episode.
like, he's like, yeah, we're playing well in this 4-3-3, but it's like that's if he keeps the formation,
Yeah.
and he didn't. He went back to the same old basic formula, which is nothing wrong with that formula if it's working for you. It's clearly not for us. We get on Bronico a lot about him not creating enough opportunities and chances for the attack to develop from that defensive midfielder. But when he has played in that 4-3-3 formation, he looks a lot better. He looks better on the offensive side than he does on the defensive side.
I mean, it's like a whole, not just for him, but like it just looks like a whole new team.
The whole team looks better on that formation. So the fact that he changes it up, well, I'm not surprised by it because he seems to change it up like for every game. Like, it's like he's trying to build a tactic around that team. If he goes and sits somewhere and watches tape or what, and then tries to overthink it, and just start tinkering with the lineup way too much. But I also there's probably some portion of it where like Fuchs is out. We don't have too many options for defensive, especially on the left side. So he's probably also just trying to like minimize the damage. Like he knows there's a loss coming, but he wants to keep it like just real low. I mean, Montreal's at the top of the tables right now. The chances of us beating them, most likely 0. The chances of us tying, a little better, but he can just keep it to like a 1-0 or 2-0 I just did. He's probably happy with that. So I'm assuming he's probably not too upset that we lost this one. Which I'm not either. Like the team played hard. Like even Bronico and McCoon, which, I get on all the time, like those guys played hard. And we did get outplayed, but I mean it's Montreal, they're number 1 right now. So it's hard to beat those guys. But I mean I looked at Montreal's lineup and formation. They've kept just a solid 4-3-3 for every team they've played. They don't switch it up for anybody. That's what they play, and that's what they're going to continue to play. And I just wish our coach would kind of do the same thing, where like stick with one formation and develop it.
Yeah, I agree. I think what was frustrating for me though is like when we played Miami and when we played Richmond. I mean, we can throw the Richmond one out just because it is a whole different starting lineup, and obviously it's a less caliber of a team. But when we played Miami, like Miami is still, yes, they've had their struggles, but they're still a pretty strong like MLS side. Like maybe not when you look at the table, but they were, when we played them, they were on a bit of a hot streak. They're beating some big teams. And when we played them, like, yes, it was only a 1-0 win, but the team looked so different. And it could have easily been, 4-0 or something. It could have been a lot higher if a couple things go in.
Miami's goalkeeper kept them in that game.
Yeah, so for me, the big frustrating part about this Montreal game is like I don't, if we would have played the 4-3-3, I'm not saying it's a guarantee win for us against Montreal, but I think it was just annoying because like now we don't really know how good of that starting lineup really is against everyone else on the table, and we just don't know what we have now, which is what frustrates me the most.
No, I agree. Like keep the same formation and then maybe start messing around with the rotation of players at the positions instead of like, I don't know what kind of just jumble he's been doing, but it's like we're playing 4-4-2 and you guys are playing to this position, and now next game we're playing 4-4-3 and the same guy's playing, and he's starting, but he's starting a different position. So it's like, make up your mind.
And it's just weird too because like I don't know how you can like rewatch like past games and then watch the game against Miami and not see like how big of a difference certain players' performances. And again, and it's hard to tell whether that's because we were playing Miami or because of the formation. Like he's changing so many things that it's hard to tell like which one is affecting which, right? So like Bronico's performance, like I thought before the Miami game he looked pretty below average. And And I thought this game against Montreal, he looked pretty, again, that kind of same issue we've had all season of like, we just forget he's even on the field.
Right.
But against Miami, like he was getting forward, he was intercepting passes, like setting plays up,
Yep.
like he set up the winning goal, like he was doing a lot. Same with Ruiz. Like Ruiz was a huge playmaker in that game against Miami. And in this one, he had a decent game, better than his average game, I would say, but it wasn't still up to that same caliber that we saw against Miami. And again, it's just hard to tell whether is that because it's just we're playing Miami, or is it because of the formation? It just him tinkering with that formation and going back to something that we've seen just hasn't worked all season. And I've seen that like Ruiz, Bronico, to a certain extent, like Franco and Alcivar, like clearly like this style of play doesn't get the best out of them. So like, why do we keep going back to it and then throwing them out there again?
Yeah.
Like, you're just doing a lot of the same stuff, and it just keeps resulting in like poor performances. And I think some of the wins have kind of like shown that, or like have kind of covered that up. But I think like if you kind of look at our most recent matches, let's say the last like 3 or 4, like I don't see how you can watch those and not see the issues of like we're not creating enough chances, like we're not getting the best out of Ruiz and Bronico and Franco and Alcivar in these positions. Swiderski's not getting the best service because of that, like
right.
And then he Andrei Shimashinsky starts in that left forward position, but even like when he joined, all the press conferences are about like how he talked to manager Miguel Ramirez and how he prefers to play the winger position, and that's what he likes, and that's what Ramirez brought him on for, and all this like system talk, and like to just go back up and be like, all right, you're playing up front with Swiderski, who like I don't think those two guys had that good of like chemistry or connectivity, but it's also like the team just becomes like really narrow when we attack. Like when you watch some of the highlights, you'll see like so many players end up running into the same spot at the top of the box that like no one really knows what to do. And
like our finish and our attack is like the finish is not there yet.
But I think it's not there in this formation. Like I think it would have been a lot better in that 4-3-3, especially like you have that game against Richmond where you see a lot of players like step up and continue to have a good performance. Like Andre continues to have a good performance. Mackenzie Gaines had a really good performance. Reyna had another good performance. That's like 3 in a row. And to like not just like trust them against some of the best in the league to go out and do that again, I think it's like really telling. That maybe he doesn't have a lot of faith in the team, or he overestimates like Montreal or something.
Yeah.
But it just kind of felt like he was playing like made the team play really scared. Like that to me, that was like the biggest thing, was like this 4-4-2 just shows that like we're afraid to get forward and create chances against like top teams.
Yeah, I think he was afraid of the counterattack coming on him a lot.
Yeah.
Which is Montreal.
And that's basically how they scored their first goal.
Yeah, that's true.
But let me ask you this: like, if we go to the 4-3-3, let's say there's some kind of universe where you've seen the result we actually got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 2-0. And let's say you go to the 4-3-3 and it's 4-2. I mean, is there a difference in your eyes to that? Like, it's both are a loss, let's say.
Right, yeah, it's still a 2-0, basically.
Yeah. But like, so to me, it's like, well, if you think you're gonna lose one way or the other, like, why not at least try to go for a formation or a style of play that we might sneak something in, like.
Right, yeah, it's like you're going into battle, you're gonna die, but why not take some guys out with you?
Yeah.
So,
or even if we lose like 2-1 or 3-1 or something, or 3-2, like as long if we score some goals along the road, or at least create a lot of chances, like that gives like Swiderski and Andre and Reyna like more confidence to keep going. And and even if they score like against a Montreal, who I think like an interesting is like I don't think we've really scored against any top teams, right? Like we're scoreless against Philly, scoreless against Montreal now. We play a Red Bull soon. So like
the best we've done is against Atlanta.
Yeah, and I mean they're only a couple of spots above us on the table.
Right, yeah.
So to me, it's kind of like, why not go out there, and if you still end up losing 3-2, to me that's the same thing as like a 2-0 loss. So why not at least go out there and like try to score some goals or like build up some players' confidence? And I mean, like,
It's
yes,
frustrating.
yeah,
It's very frustrating to watch him just try the same old formula and expecting a different result. Like, what isn't that like what is the definition of insanity? Is trying the same thing,
yeah,
expecting different results.
and it'd be one thing if, like you said, like he was rotating players around, but like it's
Right.
always the same guys going out there, no matter
Mm-hmm.
the performance. Like Franco got out there. I don't think Franco's played well in a while, and it's been a little while.
No, yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know he would
I think the
put
last
over.
good game Franco had was maybe against Atlanta when Alcivar scored that one
Yeah, I would say
goal.
that was like both of their last good games.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I don't know who you would put there instead. Maybe Awful. I mean, that would have been more interesting to see, right?
Yeah.
Um, who has
I
been
mean,
playing well every time he's played.
if we had started the 4-4-3 formation, who would be your picks for going in?
Yeah, so the back line I'd probably keep mostly the same, except I would put Jan Zobazinski in over McCoon, just because you know what you're going to get out of McCoon. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to get a 6.5 performance. We don't know how Jan stacks up against
Yeah.
MLS sides yet.
Yeah.
And he's been doing pretty well in the Open Cup. Like, let's get him some minutes and see what depth we have at the center back position.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of paying him? I'm not sure how much he's getting paid, but what's the point of paying it if we're never going to see it and we're not going to know what depth exactly we have at that center back spot? I think you start Mora just because you don't have
Mora's
anyone
been fine
else.
at that
Yeah,
left back.
and then Mora is another guy who, just to go before I finish answering your question, another guy who, like, I think if I was him, if I was Mora, Bronico, Ruiz, I'd be really pissed at this starting lineup because it just makes you look like a really, excuse my French, but like a really shit player.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I didn't know you knew French.
but we're like, when we played against Miami, like I thought Mora looked way better going forward. Bronico and Ruiz looked way better, like
Much
all
better.
around, like
Much
way,
better.
way better.
Especially Ruiz.
Yeah, so like if I'm those guys and you're telling me to go play this again, I'm like, dude, no, I don't. This
Mm-hmm.
sucks. Like, we suck when we play this way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone on the team like has like the, for lack of a better word, like the courage to kind of speak up against Miguel. I don't know what he's like as a manager. If you do, maybe you get just sat. Season's over for you. I don't know, but it would be nice to like see some guys speak up more about it. But anyway, so yeah, that would be my back line, just to try something a little bit different. My midfield would probably be, Bronico at holding and Ruiz and Bender in front of him. And then my front three would be, Swiderski in the middle, and then Reyna and Shimichinski out wide. I thought Shimichinski and Reyna had good combinations against Miami and against Richmond. And I mean, Swiderski is, I think, clearly finding some form back. Like, yeah, he hasn't found the middle of the net or the back of the net yet in a while, but his touch is looking good again. His dribbling's looking good. He seems to be playing a little bit freer compared to a couple other performances. So I think those front three could have done a lot of damage, especially if they kind of get going, and especially because Reyna's been doing so well out on that left side of like just finding space, like dribbling past people, setting up. Like, I think he's probably the best crosser of the ball that we
Reyna?
have. Yeah.
Yeah, Reyna's pretty good.
Like, his, not only like does he find the right players, but like he finds it like in the right space and gets it to like land right at the right spot. Like he plays really good crosses.
Yeah, from the few crosses that he's had, because he's had just so few minutes too, which is crazy to me because anytime he gets on the field, he makes positive results. His crossing and just playmaking has been much better than some of these other guys like Rios or even Lindsay. I mean, I get that Lindsay's a defensive player and he's amazing, but Lindsay's crossing and Reyna's crossing is just two completely different things.
Yeah, and I thought this game Lindsay did do a good job of like getting forward. I thought he did really good on his one-on-ones. Like, I again don't recall him getting beat one-on-one. And he had a lot of good like combination plays and through balls, yeah, like you said, his crossing still kind of lacks. But like if I'm like awful, if I'm Reina, like I just like I would be a bit discouraged that I'm not getting more minutes because it's like, well, what more do you want from me? Like I'm putting in good performances. Like Reina, especially to me, because I thought Reina at the beginning of the season wasn't great, and I kind of thought he was lazy, like getting back as well. And over the last couple of games that he's played, I've seen that completely been flipped. Like especially in the Miami game where we were a bit more suspect to the counterattack. Like
Mm-hmm.
I constantly saw him like getting back and helping Mora.
Right.
Um, so for me, it's like, well, why? Even if you stick with this original formation of the 4-4-2, why not put Reina in that right midfield position instead of Franco, who like hasn't done anything? Like you look at Franco's stats, like his passing's bad, his defensive work is bad. If you watch him, he's kind of turned into like a bit of the Bronico character of like I don't even realize he's out there because I just don't see him having like any impact anywhere. So like, why wouldn't you start a guy who has been having impact over the last 3 matches
No, yeah.
and like reward him for that? But instead, it's just like, oh, these are the guys that always start. Like, go out there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, why?
Yeah. And even, Franco had that wide open shot and he just kind of blew it right over the top bar there. Or who was it had a shot there? I think it was Swiderski that had a shot, and maybe no, it was Shinashinsky
Yeah, he
hit the
hit the post.
crossbar.
Yeah,
Franco was there for the rebound and just blew it. Like he's just out of form right now. Not to say that Franco's a bad player because he's not, but like he's just not in form right now. Um, and I feel like Awful could do better at that spot. I feel like even Bender could maybe do better at that spot. Um, but just not him. Not right
yeah,
now. He just needs to come in on a sub or something like that.
yeah. And so to
That's
kind of
interesting though that you would put Bronico in as your starter.
in that 4-3-3, yeah,
Yeah,
I thought he did really well against Miami, and then when he came on for Richmond, he looked good getting forward.
I would have said I think I would have kept pretty much what the same formation, but to the Bronico I would have done like a Ruiz instead.
Well, I had Ruiz and Bender in front of him,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
playing like that triangle in the middle.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
would
I mean,
include
I
I would
think you
include
could,
Awful more and
yeah,
um just because I mean yeah Bronico has done better in that 4-3-3, but to me it's not like amazing better.
mm,
It's just like okay he's finally doing his job better, but still we're both in agreement that the 4-4-2 is not working. It worked on weaker opponents, sure, but the 4-3-3 just seems to click better with
and
this
it,
team.
and again, I think like my biggest thing of like why I get so frustrated is just because like this was such a good opportunity to actually see what this team could do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like when we played Miami in that 4-3-3, it was like a whole new team. Like to me, that game kind of like reset the season.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like it to me it
Especially
honestly
after that
did.
losing streak.
Yeah, like it really did reset the season of like what was possible again. Because like the way we were playing before that Miami game, I was kind of like, it's gonna be a stretch to make playoffs. Like it's I don't know. It kind of like
Yeah.
kind of refocused my expectations. But then when they played against Miami and I saw like the difference in the team,
Yeah.
I was like, oh wait, no. If
And
they
I
play
do
like this, like they
think that
could.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up, but
No, you're good.
I do think that they switched to 4-3-3 like midway through the second half. Um I could be wrong, but
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure a commentator had mentioned that they had switched to a 4-3-3 formation. I think whenever Awful came on, not
Hmm.
sure what the subs are. Do you got them up?
Uh,
But anyways,
I can
I
pull them
think
up.
they did switch to the formation. We had more opportunities created.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I only watched the game like when I was there, and I thought like those last like 15 minutes or so, we did look like the better team, and we looked really dangerous going forward. Like just couldn't put anything in. And we'll kind of talk about the subs. I don't even think we've mentioned this scoreline, or maybe we did that. We lost 2-0. We've kind of just been jumping around everywhere, but So the first sub we see, this is where my like frustration really bothered me, was we take out Ruiz, who I thought had been having like a above average game. Like I thought he'd been actually doing pretty well, and put in Jordi Alcivar, who, since he scored against Atlanta, I don't think he's really done a whole lot.
No, not too great.
Yeah, and he got a really dumb haircut.
Yeah,
Did you
had
see
that
it?
like 101 Dalmatian haircut.
I think you forgot that the
Like
game was
Cruella
starting and had
DeVille.
to leave halfway through, and only got one half of it dyed. Listen, I can say that because I've had just as dumb as a haircut before. I once shaved one half of my entire head and left the other half unshaved at a soccer camp in high school. So I've done similar mistakes like him, but that was a really dumb haircut. And then so we get that. Like I didn't think that was that good of a change.
He's paying for that haircut in installments.
and then the second sub also kind of upset me. We get Reyna coming on, which was nice, which was a change we needed to see, but at the cost of Andrei Shimashinsky.
Right. No, that was yeah, I thought that was a pretty dumb move by the coach.
Yeah, I mean you're taking a guy who almost scored again. He's on a hot streak. And you're putting on the guy who he's connected with the best, but taking him off. Like I didn't think tactically that made any sense.
Right.
I think it would make more sense to like take Franco off at that time and let either Reyna play in that same spot and let him get up and down, or switch to the 4-3-3. But for whatever reason, he just takes Andre off and keeps doing things the same old way. And then the last three changes we get Harrison Awful on for Lindsay, which I was fine with. Awful looks great every time he plays. Lindsay was having probably his best game of the season, but I'm still fine with that change. And then we get Franco out finally for Yazwiak, which kind of turned into a waste, honestly. I didn't think Yazwiak did a whole lot besides get a really stupid yellow card.
Yeah.
And then we take Swiderski out for Rios, who hasn't done anything all season. Yeah, I get he scored 1 goal against Richmond, but like again, it was against Richmond.
Yeah, I mean, you put Swiderski against Richmond, he's scoring more than one.
Yeah. So I just kind of felt like we need a goal. You're putting on like you're putting on like Yazwiak and Awful, who are good at getting forward and moving the ball, but it seems like a more offensive minded team at this point. But then you take off your number one goal scorer and put on your like worst forward.
Yeah,
like,
that's something like you and I discussed. It was like, Swiderski's like our top paid player right now, and he's being taken off when we're losing. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like,
yeah,
and he's probably the most talented forward we have too.
Yeah, not only just finishing, but like his touch. Like this is something like the team overall needs to work on, is like that first touch. Like there was early on in the first half, like it's actually, or so it's not in the first half, it's in the second half of the 62-minute. Like if Bender had just a better first touch, like he could have finished that like that through ball.
Yeah, Bender had 2 missed opportunities,
and it's all just because his first touch was bad.
Yeah, first touch and just hesitation, where like Swiderski has that more instinct.
And has a good first touch.
Yeah.
Like he's able to bring the ball down. He's able to dribble with it. Like he can, like you said, he can maneuver into space. He can dribble into space.
Yeah, but like taking him out for Rios, that's just bad.
And you got Gaines on the bench who scored 2 against Richmond.
Yeah, and Gaines has been improving in form. Yeah, like you said, fast. Like Rio, I don't know why he's putting Rios in. He's just slow right now, predictable. Like his heading's not that great.
He had 2 like sail over the bar.
Yeah, so I didn't agree with that sub. I also, like you said, I didn't like Alcivar coming on. If I would have had it my way, I would have kept in Swiderski. I would have kept in Shimashinsky. Took out Franco and put in Yazwiak. Fine, I'm good with that, because I think Yazwiak needs more minutes. Like he needs more minutes with the main starters to really develop. Like that's another one of our designated players that we're just like for some reason benching.
Yeah, because when he plays, it does feel like he isn't sure like what the whole team is doing, but he'll like kind of go on and do his own, like kind of like take the game into his own hands of like cutting inside the box or like taking on a player or two and try to make a play happening.
Yeah.
It would be nice for him to get more minutes to like get some more chemistry with the team.
Yeah, if anything, I would have taken out Bender and put in Reina, because Shinshinsky and Reina seem to connect well together.
Mm-hmm.
And then also probably take out like a Bronico and put in Awful, something like that.
Yeah, I'd be good with those changes.
Just because Awful is also, he's good on defense, but he's good at creating the attack and play.
Yeah, I mean, you see in the second, like late in the second half, like he gets
a couple good little crosses in there,
and he has a shot from
you're right.
A shot from distance.
So
and puts it on
it's just
goal.
I'm for this loss, I'm just gonna chalk it up to just bad coaching. Like the team did what it was supposed to do in that formation, the best it could do it.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Is like no one in the starting lineup really looked bad.
Right.
Like
it's just again, like why would you pick this formation? I'm just putting it up there. Like this was just bad coach decision.
Like I don't know how you feel about like McCoon, but I will say like for Bronico, who I've been heavy.
That's how I feel. I don't like him.
Like, but for Bronico, who like I've been very like critical of all season long, like for this game, I kind of like just wash it because it's just like, I mean, it's just this formation. Like we've seen how he plays without it. He plays a lot better, and I mean, it's just again like if I was him, if I was McCoon, if I was Mora, if I was Ruiz, I would just like I don't know how you're not talking to the coach, like especially after this game and being like, this isn't working, man. Like you're making me look bad, you're making you look bad, the team look bad. Like this is just not working. And because I also think like the 2 goals Montreal had weren't even like that great. Like the first one is like a good bit of like, quick passing to pull McCoon out of space and take advantage of that space and just, go down the line and cut it back for an easy tap in. The second one was just kind of like, it was a great shot and just kind of got lucky that it hits the inside of that post.
Yeah, the second one was pretty lucky.
Yeah. So it's not like they were absolutely like thrashing us or anything. Like the game was pretty even. I think even like possession wise and shot wise. Or maybe not shot wise, but like it didn't feel like it was a completely like dominant game. Where we just had no chance at all. Like,
I think Montreal had more shots on goal than we did, but again, lucky we have Super Kalina in there to like stop it. But the fact that we're not getting that many shots in, and it just gives Montreal or any other team more opportunities to get shots off on us, and eventually they're gonna go in.
And I guess what I mean to say is like it didn't feel like Montreal was unbeatable. Like it felt like we could have broken this team down and scored some goals, as opposed to like when we played Philly, they felt unbeatable.
Philly had a wall.
Yeah, like Philly just felt like we were suffocating for air the entire time.
Yeah,
like this, it just felt like we didn't like set up the best of chances, so we couldn't finish them. But it felt like there were like areas where we could like break down Montreal.
Yeah, yeah, like at least for like this one we had shots. Yeah, where against Philly, like, man, as soon as we got the ball, they were on us, and we were just struggling to get a pass off.
Yeah, it was
just at least on this one, we were able to get a couple 1-2 passes, shots on goal, things like that, rebound balls.
Yeah.
It's just it's too bad it didn't work out.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I kind of chalked this one up to just the coach got the tactics wrong, and the substitutions wrong. And he's a young coach, only 36, I think. He'll learn from this, I'm sure. Hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully he learns from
this. Hopefully he does learn from it.
And just have some more faith in your players. I think that's what the biggest takeaway for me was, is like he doesn't trust certain players. Like to step up and put a game away or to be able to go forward. And I think it's pretty glaring, and I think it's just like he needs to have some trust in some players and like put them out there and let's see what we've got.
Yeah, and I think it goes also back to like that first early on interview when they had with the coach, and he had mentioned that I'm sure he's retracted by now, but he had mentioned that like it was not going to be a very good season because of the lack of talent and this, and I think amongst other things, just the lack of talent and the lack of practice. they've gotten off together. But I think he has taken that back. But still, like, if he said that at the beginning of the season, it does goes to show you that like there is some sort of hindrance there where he, like you said, he doesn't trust players or he doesn't trust switching formations, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like especially like the Alcivar change and the Rios change, like really speak volumes to that.
Yeah, I don't
Because
think
like,
Rios deserved to be in this game at all. Like
yeah,
the way our
like you've got
front was
Mackenzie
performing.
Gaines on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. Gaines could have been another one that should have went in. But still, is bad coaching.
yeah. So we've got one more home game before we're away again this weekend. Any last thoughts you wanted to have about the game?
God no, I'm just
Yeah,
I'm over
ready
it.
to forget this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just gonna say this again. It was just bad coaching. The team did what it was supposed to do with this formation. It was just the wrong formula for it.
Yeah.
Besides that, I thought the players did great, and good job also to the fans for turning out. How was the atmosphere?
Oh man, it was funny that you mentioned that because I had actually I tweeted before the game started, and I should probably go back and delete it. But I tweeted before that the stadium felt really different. Like at least to me, it felt different before the game. It felt louder, and it was more people. A little over 33,000.
Oh, cool.
So about 1,000 more people showed up for this game, but it just felt like a little bit magical, a little bit electric. It definitely felt a little bit different than the other home games. Where I was like, oh man, like I think they might sneak something away here. Like I can kind of feel it. And then once I saw the 4-4-2,
I can feel it.
Yeah, and then once I saw the starting lineup get out there, I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, you texted me. They were like, they're playing a 4-4-2 formation. I'm like, oh, chalk it up as a loss.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and McCoon's starting. I'm like, yep, definite loss.
Yeah, but again, yeah, the home games are great. Like the fans are always so loud. The supporter section kills it.
I'm so excited to go sit with the supporter sections when we play Red Bulls.
That's where you're sitting?
Right next to them.
Well, you're not going to be sitting. You're going to be standing the whole time.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, get ready to yell a ton. It looks like a lot of fun, but I'm a little too posh for it. I need some time to sit and eat my hot dog and eat my popcorn.
Do not eat stadium hot dogs.
Yeah, I had two. They were so good.
I've seen how they cook them, for lack of.
Those hot dogs are good. I liked them.
That's the hot dog that makes your stomach strong.
That's right. But no, it does look like a ton of fun to be part of that supporter section. But no, the home attendance was great. Be interesting to see what it's like against Vancouver.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. They should win that game.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't win that game, I am gonna kind of chalk the playoffs thing. Like, if we don't beat Vancouver, we're not making playoffs.
Well,
because they're in different. I know they're in a different conference, but like they're dead last in that conference, or like second to last. Like,
I will say this: Vancouver is probably the last easy team we're gonna play.
Yeah.
Looking at the schedule right now, after that.
Well, and then Seattle looks to have fallen on some hard times as well, but I think that might have to do more with the Champions League.
Maybe.
Because I think they are 13th in their conference. I think they're right above Vancouver.
Okay. No, yeah, you're right. Right now they're.
But again, that's because they were competing in the Champions
tables.
League.
So we'll say Vancouver and Seattle. So we got Vancouver and Seattle, two easy teams. Or beatable teams. I don't want to say easy, but beatable teams. But after that, we got New York, then Seattle, then New York again, then Columbus Crew, then Montreal again, and then Austin, and then Houston. Pretty tough lineup. I don't know if we're gonna make playoffs at all. It's
hard. It's really hard to tell though, because
it's hard to tell. And here's the thing, like we had an early success, which had my hopes up.
Yeah.
But seeing how they've been playing now, and factoring in, like I forget that this is a new team.
I do too.
And I forget that the roster has literally had no time to practice before the first match even started.
No real practice facility either.
Yeah. So it's like the fact that all these things have been going against them and they've still been producing these results. It's amazing for first of all, but it's like you expect more. You know, it's like you expect more out of them.
Each game, each performance, they've kind of like shifted our expectations, right? Like after the first 2 games, we were probably like, okay, well, it looks like it's not going to be like an embarrassment, so that's great.
Right.
Like got beat bad by DC United, but brand new team first game, like that's pretty like excusable. And then you hold LA at home to 1-0, like you're like, okay, there's something there. Like maybe it'll be a good defensive team. Then you go on, and then you lose to Atlanta at the last minute, and you're like, okay, maybe that's what they're gonna that's gonna be their story all season long, like just kind of struggling for goals and wins. And then you go on like a 3-game win streak, and you're like, dude, they can do this. Like
we even had discussions. I was like, should they focus more on playoff runs or winning the Open Cup? Like, if they even had a shot at winning the Open Cup.
I know.
Not saying that they don't, but it's like we were talking about it like they were #1 contenders.
Yeah.
Like
we're the only MLS team in there.
Right. Yeah.
Bully a bunch of teams.
We're like, oh wait, now we got to play
Red Bull.
The Red Bulls 3 times this season.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna make it past the Red Bulls for the Open Cup?
But it's just funny how that works. Is like after we beat Atlanta at home, we were like, man, they could make playoffs.
They can do
it.
They
could. Like I like when they beat Atlanta, I was kind of past the like they can make playoffs thing. I'm like, they could be a top 5 team.
Yeah.
Like if we don't finish in the top 5, that's gonna be pretty disappointing.
And then we go everything.
And then we go on the away run of just like loss, tie, loss, and you're like,
that away
man,
run
if we
hurt.
can just scrape some points together and get this wagon across the finish line. And then they completely outplay Miami, and you're like, I'm back in, like top 7. Come on,
jersey out of the trash can.
And
where's the Febreze?
Yeah. And then this game is just like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
This game for me again though, it's just like it's hard to tell like what this team can do, just because they between this game and Miami, they looked like such different teams, and it's hard to tell whether that was because of who they were playing or because of the way they were set up. It's really hard. I
gotta say this, and I hate to say it, but this looks like another typical Charlotte professional team. Same as the Hornets and same as the Panthers. They'll have a couple of good runs and then just like womp womp womp, they just fall apart. And I just hope they're not like another mediocre Charlotte team.
Yeah.
But even if they are, I'll still root for them. I guess. Definitely not rooting for Atlanta. Like 30 birds.
And they're all injured.
Yeah.
But like I know we've just been.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know we're just, but I really do think this team like can be like.
It could be great.
I think because they're better than their record. They have all those things
going against them, and they've had such early success. But it's like, hey, like give them some time to practice in the off season, really develop, and get some better signings.
Make some moves. Yeah.
Next year could be a little better.
David Tepper opens up that wallet a little bit.
Yeah.
Some cash.
Get some overseas oil money. That oil going back to Iraq.
You cooking? Yeah. So we'll again, I do think this team is better than its record. Like, I think this team can be like has shown flashes of like really top quality, but it's like they just can't do it consistently, and like I don't know.
Yeah, and also I mean like.
And it's not even like
soccer. That's how it goes. Like,
true.
You know, I love Manchester United. I think they should be at the top of the English league every time. But right now, even with Ronaldo on the squad, I'm just like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like.
Who do I need to call?
Like every season at Chelsea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're coming in July. I think we talked about that, right?
Maybe not. We might have missed that, but yeah, it is confirmed.
You getting tickets for that?
Yeah. Supposedly they go on sale tomorrow.
I'll get 2 of them.
I'll
pay you back.
I will get you one if you want one. Yeah, the March or what month is this?
We'll call it even when I regrip your golf clubs.
Okay. April. Wait, we're in May. May 19th, I think, is when tickets officially go on sale. So that should be, if you're listening to this episode, that should be by now.
July is like 2 weeks away.
Yeah. So July 20th is when the game is at Bank of America Stadium. What do you think that's gonna look like?
Are you asking me if like Charlotte's gonna win?
Yeah, sure.
Depends on who comes over.
Yeah, it won't be Chelsea's starting lineup.
Hope it is.
Nah,
Not that I
it'll
know any
be
of them. I
a
only know
mix.
that one guy. What's his name?
Oh, one guy.
Holsick. Holsick.
Pulisic.
Yeah.
Pulisic. He might not be with them by the time they
Pelosi.
come. Is what
Nancy
sucks.
Pelosi. That's who it is.
He's rumored to be joining Juventus.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like a down. I hate to say. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know why does everybody go to the Italian league? What's
Easier.
over there?
Easier.
It's easy.
Not as physical. Fans aren't as mean, I'd assume. Well, at least you know,
It's a meatball.
probably
I don't know, money. Actually, it's
Yeah,
probably it is.
probably
That's
that
all
one.
it is. It's just money.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, who knows? Well,
That'd be an interesting game though.
yeah. I did have a
That'll be
USA jersey
interesting.
that I bought, but somehow cannot fit. If everybody, that'd be a good giveaway.
Like jersey that you no longer fit into.
Well, it's like it's got tags and everything,
Oh, okay.
but I can't fit. I'm like, what the crap? It says XL, but I guess it's like maybe a kid's XL. I was like, oh, this is not going on.
Not an XL. Just frame it. Throw that bad boy up on the wall.
It's just a plain old USA jersey. There's no names on the wall.
But that will be an interesting out of those like 33,000 people that show up at Bank of America, I don't know how many are like diehard or casual. But like to the casual fan that goes to the Chelsea game, that'll be interesting to see like what the difference in quality is that they see. Because like I don't know about you, but whenever I like watch an MLS game and then I go watch like a Premier League game or a Champions League game, I'm just like, man, it's like watching something in slow-mo to then fast forward. Like, these guys are fast.
Yeah.
Like the quality is just so different. So I think it'd be interesting to see like what casual Charlotte FC fans like will think about afterward.
Yeah, because we're gonna be playing our starting.
Yeah.
I would hope so. I mean, I get it's a friendly in the middle of July, in the middle of our season, but still, like,
I don't know if they still do it anymore, but I remember like when I was in high school, every summer the MLS All Stars would play like Man United or something. So it'd be like the best of MLS against like Man United's like reserve and youth teams.
Yeah.
It would just be like 8-0.
Yeah, that's like another thing. Like, what is it? One of the things that FIFA on the games has an option is like, oh, you've unlocked the MLS All Star team from 2020 or whatever like year it is. I'm like, I'm not gonna be picking any of these guys.
Yeah. I think if I was in the MLS and they selected me to be an all star and to play against Man United, I would just decline. Like I'm hurt, dog.
Give me that.
Sorry.
Pay me.
But all right. So what are your kind of gone on a wild tangent here? But what are your thoughts on the Vancouver match? I mean, do you see it as a must win?
Yeah, it's definitely a must win. One only because of table rankings. I think we're above Vancouver. And we just got to get back on winning form.
Yeah.
Just so we can prepare for New York Red Bulls. I hope he goes to a 4-3-2-3 formation and stays at it. This coach is hard to tell. I mean, so wishy-washy on who he starts and what formation
sick if he went back
uses.
to the 3-5-2.
Oh my gosh.
That immediately got scored on by Philly. This is a big like middle finger to all the fans.
Well, I mean, see, like that's the thing. Like you see that, like he picks formation in accordance to who he's playing, whereas Vancouver, I mean, like this is the formation, this is who we're playing, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he just doesn't do that. But no, yeah, it's a must win. And I think we will win it, most likely like a 2-0. 2-0 or 2-1, something like that.
I'd like to see them run it up a little bit if they can.
It would help, especially the goal differential.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, I think it's a must win, and he needs to put the team out there in a way that sets them up to create chances and score goals. If he still thinks that that's that 4-4-2 formation, then I don't know what he's seeing. and I'd love for him to like elaborate in an interview or something about it because I don't think he has yet. But I think he needs to set them up in that 4-3-3 and let them play, and like whatever happens. But I think it's a game we have to win. We should win.
Yeah. We played,
especially like
the
you
Red
said.
Bulls. Those guys are pretty strong right now.
So we play Seattle first, right? Or do we play New York for the Open Cup first?
We play. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we play New York first for the Open Cup.
And then we travel to Seattle.
Here. No, looking at the schedule, we got Whitecaps May 22nd, then Red Bulls May 25th for the Cup.
Then Seattle.
Then Seattle May 29th, and then Red Bulls again June 11th.
Then we're gonna be home, away, home. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean Seattle. I hope they win at Seattle because we need that momentum going into that home game, and our away, record is atrocious.
Yeah, and then the other hard part about like talking about expectations for the team is like, who knows how Kerwin Vargas is going to fit into this and what he'll bring. And then again, the summer transfer window is opening up, so who knows how much more this team can change in a couple months. So again, like we
need more defensive players. I mean, stop signing all these attackers.
Yeah. But it'll just be interesting to see like what expectations are in a couple weeks because it will change. It definitely will change.
Yeah.
Any other last minute thoughts or comments or questions?
Let's wrap this up.
Alrighty.
I will say this. I do have that USA jersey for you 50 listeners out there. If you first one to email in or do like a review or what you guys want to talk about or want us to talk about on the next podcast, I will definitely send you that jersey. It's got tags and everything, brand new. Might have spilled a little chocolate on it.
Not that brand new.
But I'll give that jersey away.
Yeah, and then one thing I did want to do is shout out at Hub Likes or Michael Hub on Twitter. He had tweeted us, interested to hear your preferred formation 4-3-3. I'm guessing, but more importantly, who starts in the midfield three against Toronto and why? We kind of covered that, but I don't know if he had anything.
What's he talking about? Are we live right now?
No. That was I tweeted out that that the episode was gonna be delayed until Wednesday.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got kids.
And they made the playoffs for $10,000.
Dude,
had to go.
My kids made playoffs. Charlotte better make playoffs.
But
maybe they should play for Charlotte.
So yeah, so who are if you're in charge of the starting lineup and it's a 4-3-3, who are your midfield three?
My midfield three, I would say Bender on the left, Ruiz in the middle, and then Yazviak on the right.
Interesting.
And then my top three, I would say Reyna on the left, Podersky in the middle, and then Chinashinsky on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the four, you got Carujo and Lindsay on those back two, Fuchs if he's still playable on that center back, and then Mora on the left back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
and if Fuchs is out, leave Mora on that left back and play anybody else but McCoon.
Literally
anybody else. You can put in that short goalie. I don't care.
You could put in Derek Jones. He played center back against
Derek
Richmond.
Jones in. Dude, that dude is tall and just like
he will
physical.
Foul someone.
He will stomp you.
That is the only when I watch him play. That is the only thing I get worried about is he's gonna get like carted out.
Who cares? It's just a couple games. What you get paid for?
True. Yeah, I think my midfield three probably. I think I'd have Bronico at the holding mid, Ruiz and Bender as the two forward center mid.
Crazy, you're still starting Bronico.
Dude, I thought he really changed his mind against Miami and even a little bit against Richmond.
One game changed your mind. Not that streak of.
But again,
Miami
it's like
10?
It's hard to tell whether it was formation based or like or his talent, right?
I think it was. He saw that his little clothing apparel is not selling. He's like, oh crap, I really got to start playing now.
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
I don't know. I
It's
wouldn't
hard
start him.
it's hard to tell like what
Not
is
hard to tell. He
what's
had
making
one good
what.
game and he changed your
Yeah, but
mind.
he had one good game in that
Yeah,
formation. So
snowflake.
it's like every game has been good because it's a brand new team.
Same old Bronico.
But yeah, so those are my three, and then my front three are the same
All
as
right, let the
yours.
listeners know where to email their thing. We can send away the jersey.
Yeah, so
Dude, I'm gonna do it.
okay. Well, I guess for our impromptu giveaway for the jersey, email in a topic you want us to cover, whether it be about something specific in the Vancouver match or just something about the season overall or even just in soccer overall at offsidesthepodcast@gmail.com. And you must leave a review as well and wherever you listen. So if it's Apple Podcasts, leave a review there. If it's YouTube, leave a comment. And we'll run it for, let's say, how long do you want to run the competition?
Uh, let's until the next Red Bulls game.
Okay, so at the next when we
Not the
play
cup,
when
but
we
June
play Red
11th.
Bulls at home,
Yeah,
that's when we'll announce the winner. That episode covering that match.
yeah. That's when I'm going to that game.
So we'll announce the winner then, and we'll post it on our socials as well at offsides_CLTFC. And again, if you like the podcast, share it with a friend, even if it means strapping them down to a chair and forcing them to listen. Those download stats always make us feel better. And we will catch you guys at the next one. Bye.
Hasta mañana.